Hi friends, hello, this is Patty Bennett. Today we are going to look at this beautiful new Stippled Rose bundle from Stampin' Up. And this is my weekly live on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're joining in live, you are going to see a live button at the top. If you're joining on my blog, on my YouTube channel, or after that time on Facebook, then you're catching a replay. But I've logged in just a minute early on this live because I always like to make sure that all of the technology is working. So you might be thinking, uh-oh, have I missed something? Nope, you haven't missed anything. I'm just going to hang out for about one more minute and let people find the live video. So if you're watching a replay, please skip ahead so that you don't have to just sit through just this picture of these pretty cards. But we are going to be creating 3 of these 4 cards together today. I'm going to show you the tips of how I colored these images and just give you some tips about what I used in the background, and then go over the parts and the pieces of this beautiful Stippled Rose bundle. So if you're joining live, say hello so that I know that you're here. Hey, I see Peggy. How are you? So glad that you're here, Peggy. Thank you for joining live. Hi, Christine from Sydney, Australia. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Thank you for joining. If you're joining live, say hi so that I know that you're here, and then we're going to officially start in about 1 more minute. All right. I'm really, really excited to show you these pretty images because they're super easy to color, or as you can see on this one, you don't even have to color them. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? I think it's beautiful. And so we're going to go over lots of tips together today. Hey, Randy in Michigan. Hello. Nice to see you today. If you are looking for these cards, maybe you want to pin them to Pinterest or print them out or save them or something, they will be on my blog tomorrow, which will be December 30th. And 2 of them will be tomorrow, and then 2 of them will be on December 31st. So you can visit my blog where I share my stamping creations and tips and videos with you. Or you can just rewind and replay the video later if you'd rather watch the video again. So let's go ahead and get started. I think we are officially at the top of the hour. My name is Patty Bennett. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I've been a demonstrator since 1995, long time, and I love to share with you. I put all of my creations on pattystamps.com as well as share them on my social media platforms. And then on Friday, we come together and we craft together during a live. So thank you for joining me. Hi, Tammy. So glad that you're here. Hey, Holly. Hi, Nedra. Thank you again for joining. And I do have a really super cute kind of secret surprise to show you. I've got it off to the side here, so if I kind of forget maybe halfway through, somebody remind me to show the secret surprise, okay? Hi, Anne. Welcome. So today, hey, Polly. Today we are talking about the Stippled Rose bundle. It is new in the January 2024 mini catalog from Stampin' Up. The Stippled Roses is both a stamp set and die. You can buy them separately. You can buy them together at a discount. And we went over this inspiration sheet. I think it was 2 weeks ago that we went over this, and I showed you all of the parts and which images can be die cut, which dies don't have a stamp, and then which stamps don't have a die. And that's kind of how I like to do my inspiration samplers. So you may have seen that a couple weeks ago when we talked about this bundle. It is on page 64. I should have put that on my labels and I didn't, so that's why it's kind of funny added there at the end. Thanks, Tammy says she'll remind me. So if you have not received this from me, if you're one of my customers and you haven't received this catalog yet, it starts January 4th. I did mail them the week before Christmas, but it's crazy. I've been hearing from customers and team members that mail is taking up to 15 days to get across the country with the Christmas rush. So it may not be unusual that you have not received it quite yet. But if you don't get it by, let's say Monday, well, Monday's a holiday. So let's say Tuesday. If you're one of my customers and you don't get it by Tuesday, let me know. I'll pop one right in the mail to you again. You can also request them at pattystamps.com/catalog. And then in conjunction with the mini catalog, we have Celebration, which are a ton of really cool free gifts. So these will be available with your $50 and $100 purchases starting January 4th. Next week, we are going to go over everything inside of here. I can't open this yet because I can't open it until this goes live on the 4th. But next week, we'll look at all the fun things in here. Hello, sweetie.
Hi.
My son is here today.
I can open it.
Yeah, you can open it over there, but nobody else can look at it yet. He's teasing you, looking at it. Hi, Michelle and Linda. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you on here. Hi, Sonia. Thanks for sharing this. Oh, good. Yes, Eva. So glad you caught me live. That's amazing. I just mailed you something yesterday, so watch your mailbox. And Dana, too. Dana's here. I mailed you something yesterday as well. Hi, Mary. Hi, Debbie. Hey, everybody. All right, so let's get going and let's talk about how I made these cards. And let me share the tips with you. So the very first thing we're going to look at is this super simple version with the Stippled Roses. And it's just simply stamping in one color and die cutting it and then letting the background kind of do the work. Do you see how beautiful that is? That is the new, I think it's called Layered Florals embossing folder. And it is beautiful, and it really just, all you have to do is emboss it, and it's gorgeous. So for this card, I did stamp in Orchid Oasis and mount it on Orchid Oasis. No, excuse me. I stamped in Starry Sky, mounted it on Orchid Oasis, but you can kind of use these two colors interchangeably. They are really a great complement. They work well together. And so for this card, stamping in Starry Sky and die cutting, I thought what we'd do is try it on a Starry Sky background. So do you see the difference? The colors are very similar. They're complementary, but the Starry Sky is darker. And I wanted to see what it looked like in Starry Sky as the background. So I went ahead, just simply stamped those two images and die cut them. Could not really be easier, right? And then let's mount it on here. And I want to give you a tip. So there's the Starry Sky. You could, if you wanted to, take a blender pen and just sort of blend. In fact, let's just do that. I just thought of it, and I think it would be really pretty. Do I have one that will do? I just thought of that, and I thought, oh, that would be kind of pretty if you just sort of blended a few of the petals. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. This is taking it just maybe one step further, but not worrying about really shading or having any extra colors out. You're just grabbing the blender pen. Now this is different than Stampin' Blends. The blender pens, remember, these have been around for like eons, and they're just a glycerin base clear product. So see, coloring, there's nothing there. But when you touch it to ink, and this ink has been dry for days, I'll hold it up, but hopefully you can see. Look what a difference. How gorgeous is that? I think that's super beautiful. I love that. So now I just have to do it to these before we mount it. Oh, maybe it'd be easier just to die cut those. I'll just die cut these. That's what I'll do. So talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. Let me die cut these, and let's use those on this sample and see how beautiful that's going to be. I think it's going to be gorgeous. And if you haven't seen, and I know Tracy's here, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. I love to use these little Post-it flags to hold my die in place. You can use washi tape if you have any kind of a magnetic plate in your die cutting machine, you can use that. I just keep these little Post-it flags handy at my desk, and I use them, I reuse them and reuse them several times. And that for me is just the easiest way. I do find that once in a while washi tape or a masking tape can rip the paper, but I don't find that these rip. So I like to use these. So anyway, let me just die cut this super fast. And then we will have something a little bit different to use for this project. Look how pretty. Put these back. Oh, you know what? I want to give you an update on these white magnet cards. We were talking about those a couple weeks ago. You know how normally I have my dies on the black magnet cards from Stampin' Storage? And I tried one pack of these white ones, and I told you, in my honest opinion, I didn't think the magnet was as strong with the white. And now I can't remember who, and I apologize. One of my viewers messaged me after that video a couple weeks ago, and she reminded me that Stampin' Storage actually said when they released these white ones that they were not as strong of a magnet as the black. And I remembered that as soon as she told me that, I said, oh my gosh, that's right. And I had forgotten that. So personally, for me, I'm not going to buy any more of the white ones, even though I'll tell you what, I'll show you why I bought them. Because I think the back is gorgeous. And I know that's a really silly reason to buy them, but isn't that so pretty? But I always put the die cut information label on the back and I tape it down, so then I don't even see the back. So I'm like, okay, that really was a silly reason to buy them, but I did. And you know, we all do silly things from time to time, right? Anyway, okay, sorry, back to this. So isn't that pretty? Look, can you see the difference of just barely touching that blender pen to the stamped image? Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. Wait, there's this whole conversation happening over here. Let me look at these comments. Okay, Christine says, I love how you placed the die cut behind. Oh, we're going to talk about that, Christine. Yeah, the die cut behind. I'll show you my little tip about that. Yes. Let's see. Okay, you're saying beautiful. Wow. Hi, Stacy. Let's see what else. Oh, Tracy, I'll take them. I'm running out. She says she has more of those little Post-it flags. I'll take them. Let's see. Is the blending part of the Stampin' Right markers? No. Oh, that's a great question. So let me see if I do have one still in the package to show you. Oh, hang on. Please hold. Something fell down in my drawer. Now my drawer's not going to close. Oh, shoot. Please hold. Please hold. Oh my goodness, that was a disaster. Well, this is going to give me a reason to clean out my junk drawer. So the blender pens come in a package of 3. Oh my gosh, look how old this packaging is. But I bet you these are still perfectly fine. But yes, they come in a pack of 3. There's no color. So let me show you when you open them. Come out. Okay. So there's no color. Okay, they're just a glycerin product. Let me just see. Oh yeah, this is still super juicy. So what I always did was I bought the package of 3. I used 1 tip for reds, 1 for blues, 1 for greens, 1 for purples, 1 for yellows, and 1 for, like, what, I don't know, oranges or a different color family. But that's all you need to do. And then once you've used it, you just kind of wipe the color off and you just keep using them and using them. So this is a completely separate product from Stampin' Right markers and from Stampin' Blend markers. So that was a great question. Thank you for asking that. The little Post-its, let's see, do they actually have a name? There isn't a name on here, but they're the little flags. This is what the package looks like on this particular one. And so you pull them out and then the next one pops up and they are reusable over and over. I love these. Hey, Mary in Kansas City. Hello. Good morning, Sue. Did I miss any other questions? Tammy, do me a favor and repeat if I missed a question on here. Hopefully not. Okay, let's get back to this. That was a really long detour, wasn't it? So for this card, this is that new layered floral embossing folder. Isn't this just stunning? It's one of the 3D embossing folders, so it gives you a super good impression. I embossed it on a piece of Starry Sky cardstock that has been cut down a 1/4 inch smaller for the white card. And so first tip is that I always like to use liquid glue. Is it going to come out today? Come out and play. Here we go. I always like to use liquid glue when I am using an embossing folder because it allows it to kind of seep in and fill in all those little ridges and dents and all of that. Whereas if you just use a tape runner like our seal, it's only going to just sit right on those flat areas. But this kind of allows it to really fill in and give you a super good seal. So anyway, that's just tip number 1. And then, so somebody already mentioned this. This is one of the new dies. I love this. And when I was arranging of how I wanted this card to look, I laid a die down first because I thought it gave kind of a nice break between the floral and the background. So I kind of did my arranging and was trying to figure out how I liked it. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to stamp my greeting right on there. And so that's why it's tucked under. Now, if you arranged it just right, you really could chop this in half and get 2 cards out of 1. And I can see like right there, I've got it showing. So if I moved that flower down, then that die really could just be cut in half. So there's an option for kind of stretching your supplies. And I'll show you what I stamped on there. This stamp, Hello, Thinking of You, doesn't actually exist because I used hello and then this part, Thinking of You, in this new Heartfelt Hellos. This is a celebration set coming up. And this, I think, should be one of everybody's choices during celebration because, look, it covers like everything except thank you. And if you're like me, you have lots of thank you stamps. But I love this. I think this is just a fabulous set. So I'll show you how I did that. And I'm going to stamp it in Starry Sky. Let's make sure that looks good. Okay. Okay, so hello. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that really big kind of scripty fun font. And then for Thinking of You, you can take one of those trusty little Post-it flags. Let me just cover that a little bit more. And you can cover up what you don't want inked. And then, okay, so we got Thinking of You, and then you very carefully discard this. Do not put your hand or your arm in that. Okay, and then Thinking of You. Oops, I think I just touched it and moved it. Let me see if it got, oh, I got a little ink right there from my thumb, I think, but oh no, that's just a fuzz. We're good. Look at that. We're good. Isn't that fun? So that really helps kind of stretch your supplies. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Terry says you always make us want what we don't have. Hi, Colleen. Thanks, Holly. Hi, Linda. Let's see. Ruth says, is that the color you used on the flowers? Yes, I used Starry Sky for the flowers. And then I don't know if you saw, but I was just using the blender pen to give it a little bit of extra color. And that was just something I thought of on the fly, and I didn't even do that on the original. Okay, so here's another tip. What I did on this was grabbed my handy dandy, bucket of pieces of foam adhesive sheets that I love. You know I love these. And I only put the foam adhesive up here at the top. Oh, and I forgot. I probably could have, like I told you, I could have cut this in half, but that's all right. We're not gonna cut it at this point. I'm just gonna leave it. But you totally could have cut this die in half to get a second one. Okay, so the bottom half is flat against the background. The top half is raised. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to raise this, but I don't want it double thick. I don't want it on top of a raised label and then another label of raised. So this allows me to just put the foam adhesive sheets or dimensionals, you know, whatever you'd like, on this, and then you won't have a double layer of raised part. And I know I could have just cut one big one, but I'm trying to use up some of these little pieces. I'm trying to be good. So there we go. And we're going to just kind of, I want it so that, there. See how this is kind of hanging to the edge and this is going over the edge. Oop! Oh my gosh, it just covered the U. There we go. So I wanted it to hang off the edge just a little bit. And then on this, I am just going to put some glue and tuck it under so that it's a flatter layer. And that's it. Well, that's almost it. Not quite. Almost it. But look at the difference. Isn't that pretty? I'm so glad I tried that. That's absolutely gorgeous and easy. You don't have to be an artist, you know, to do that. So I am going to use these flat pearls. I don't know, when's the last time you added these gorgeous, aren't they pretty, iridescent-y flat pearls? When's the last time you did that? I haven't used them in really forever. So I am going to add a few of those just to give a little pretty sparkle. These are super, right there, super sparkly. They remind me kind of the inside of an abalone, that sort of a sparkle. Not sparkle, just iridescent. Is that, I guess that's about the right word. So let's look at the two cards side by side so that you can see the difference of Starry Sky background versus Orchid Oasis background, and then using the blender pen to darken those roses a bit. Super easy card, really beautiful. It's a thick basic white background. I think I forgot to say that, or base, I should say. So the card base is thick. And you know what I would probably do is just take, I think this would look pretty. Let's do this. I'm going to use the Orchid Oasis so that, oh, this allows me to show you another tip. I'm going to stamp it in here, but what I found on this particular stamp, this stippled look, you get a much better image if you ink the stamp this way, as opposed to what I always do, which is I always put my ink pad down and I always do this, but it gets really too juicy. There's like too much ink when you do it that way on these stippled images. So I just, oh, look how pretty. Oh my gosh, look how gorgeous. I should probably do that on the envelope as well. Well, since it's out, let's do this one too. But again, I'll just show you that one more time. You get a better image if you tap lightly with your ink pad to the rubber on these stippled images. Oh, how beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love this so much. I really love this. Tammy's probably yelling at me through the screen. Get rid of that grid paper. Thank you. Vicky says it's amazing. Tammy says, wow. Holly says beautiful. Nell says beautiful. Oh, good. Jenny's going to look at her flat pearls again. Yes, exactly. Thank you all. I'm glad you like. Oh, thank you, everybody. I'm reading your comments. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed this. Yes, pretty and simple, right? So there's that, the first one. This one we're not actually going to make. We're going to make the other two together. This one I showed you a couple weeks ago, and I showed you that I had used Moody Mauve Bubble Bath, Lost Lagoon, and Soft Seafoam to color this. But the reason I wanted to show you this one again is I discovered something kind of fun. These purple shimmer gems, which are a new product in the January catalog, have 3 different shades of purple. And if you know me, you know I'm not a particularly purple person. Nothing against purple, it's just not what I reach for. You know me. I go for the Poppy Parade, the Sweet Sorbet, the Real Red, the Flirty Flamingo. Though that's my go-to color. However, look what I found. I had been neglecting Moody Mauve, and this bottom section is the most gorgeous complement for Moody Mauve. Can you see that okay? Can you see the color difference? The 3 shades of purple are very different. And this bottom one looks great with the Moody Mauve. So I just wanted to show you that if you're using Moody Mauve, you try out this bottom section of the purple shimmer gems. So I wanted to show you that, and then we'll just make these other 2 so that I can show you the coloring tips. So let's see, let's do this one next. This one is just Real Red ink. And even though it looks like maybe 2 or 3 colors, it's just Real Red. And I'm going to show you how I created this one. So this one is stamped with Memento ink. And like I showed you, if you take your Memento ink pad, same as what we just did with the blue, and you hold the pad and you tap, you are going to get a really beautiful, clear image compared to an image that's too juicy and blurred. So do try that if you are using the black, well, any color, if you're using any color to ink this. And then I had to write my colors so I wouldn't forget. So I used Real Red, Shaded Spruce, and Garden Green. And this is actually a little bit of a different color combo than I might have normally used. I used mini blending brushes. And then I'm going to show you how I kind of touched up with Stampin' Blends markers. So the thing that I like to do here is when I get the ink on my blending brush, you know, you always kind of want to see that blob. You always want to just circle off a little bit on your scrap paper so you don't get a blob on your project. Start in the middle, doing several little circles in the middle. Okay, so that's the middle. But then as you go outward, it's giving you a lighter color. So it almost looks like you've used more than one color, but you didn't. I'm going to darken that a little bit more. So the super easiest, fast way to color these is to do that. And just leave those outer petals almost white. It really will look great when you get the whole thing together. It will give your eye sort of a place to focus and kind of rest, and just instead of it just being one solid dark red, you're going to give the viewer, or the recipient I should say, a place to sort of just let the eye look around at the darks and the lights. And I think that's much more interesting than just a super dark one color. Anyway, that's my preference. Yes, so many possibilities, Glenda. Exactly. And then, oh, Tammy says she's proud of me for using purple. Thank you. All right. So then we're going to use shaded spruce. Sorry, I had to think for a second. And I am just going to kind of flick a little bit, just barely touch. And I don't know about you, if you grow roses, your roses may actually have leaves that look like this. Mine do. And they are just sort of this almost a blue-green in when they start coming out. At, you know how they change colors. They start kind of reddish and they change colors. And at one point they actually do look like this. And that's why I chose this color. But then I thought, well, I don't want them all just totally that color. So I just kind of wiped off my blending brush. And I just use the same one because I don't have 40 or 50 of the minis. I use one for dark greens, one for light greens, one for reds, you know, etc. And I got some of my garden green and added it right on top. Now look at the difference. Well, can you see that? Can you see the difference of adding the garden green to it? You're getting that yellow green to mix with the blue green, and it's really stunning. And I think it makes these look kind of lifelike. I really like that. I love that mix. So those are the greens, stopping there. Don't overdo it. But then there are these little areas where the stems and those little leaves on the buds need to be colored. And there's pretty much no way, unless you want to do a lot of masking, which I don't, that you could do that with a blending brush. So I just grabbed my light shaded spruce Stampin' Blend, and I'm just sort of giving it just a little bit of color. I'm not trying to color in 100% because I don't want it to look like a coloring book. I want it to just have little bits of hints of color. So I think I got those little areas of green. I'm just double checking. And then if you wanted to really kind of add some shading, you could go through and add extra green there. You know what? I don't even like that. I don't want to do that. So hang on, let me just see if I can kind of blend that out a little with my color lifter. Yeah, that worked. I really don't want this to be like a super shaded light dark, tons of colors of shading. I really wanted this to just be just a little bits of color. And so then I'm just adding a tiny bit with the red, just a little bit. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm even going to lighten it with the color lifter. But it did give it just a little bit of extra. Okay, so super easy. You don't have to do that extra step with the blending, the Stampin' Blends, but just an easy way that you can use your blending brushes, especially the small blending brushes, to color these smaller images. So let's look at this card. I guess we don't have to make it with this extra one. I'll just die cut these two. I want to make this one. I used a different embossing folder, and I thought, let's see what it looks like with the distressed tile in the background. So I wanted to make a second one with that. This one is, I have it out here somewhere. Here it is. It's called Softly Sophisticated, and it is a new Celebration embossing folder. And I used it in the background just simply because it's Celebration and I wanted to use it and see what it looked like. And it's beautiful, but I wanted to try something different. So on this one, I am going to use the distressed tile. So sorry if you don't mind me flipping around to die cut this. I'm going to die cut this so that we can make the second card. And line those up. So talk amongst yourselves. Maybe tell me if you have any New Year's plans, and I will be right back. Oh, that didn't take long. So for this one, I've got my thick basic white card base. I am going to add a layer of real red. And I didn't actually measure this. I just, after I had a quarter sheet, I just trimmed it randomly down a little bit. It's not the full 1/4 inch smaller, it's just a little bit. And then again, this one for the distress tile, I just cut a little more than that off of it. So I didn't measure it. I just knew that I wanted to have a little bit of a red layer border. And I did this one as a side fold. So we can add, I don't know, I have to decide where the little one is going, because I didn't stamp and die cut this other. See, there's two. I didn't stamp and die cut both. But this one might need a greeting. So I think I might add a greeting to this one later. Not layer. Oh, we'll be good. We'll use these up. I was going to get a bigger piece, but we'll use them up. And again, these are the foam adhesive sheets. I prefer using a few of these instead of like 10 or 12 pieces of dimensionals. Those just kind of make me a little crazy. So I'm just going to do that at a bit of an angle. And I think we'll pop this one up. Why not? So again, this was real red, shaded spruce, and garden green. An interesting combination. I kind of like it right there. And then I think I will use one of these new die cut pieces, and I'll trim off a little bit and tuck it under and put the greeting down here underneath. So, okay, here's something. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. This is an interesting dilemma that I always have. I really have a hard time covering up any of my image with a die cut for a greeting. I don't know. I don't want to cover it up. I don't want to obscure any of the image. And so I always tend to tuck it underneath. And on this one, I would just trim it because I've already got my adhesive under there. But that's what I would do with it. I guess there's like here. So I got brave and I covered some of that, but I don't like it. I don't like to cover it up. Isn't that silly? So I'm going to find a greeting and tuck the greeting under there. But what I wanted to show you that's fun on this one are these new petal pink and pretty peacock gems. I think this pretty peacock really picks up the shaded spruce green, and that's why I used them on here. And I thought this is just really, really beautiful, a great combo. So I wanted to just show you how pretty that looks together. I'll put one up there. And these are new in the January catalog. So if you haven't purchased those on a demo pre-order, you can always get them now, or customers will be able to get them starting January 4th. But I thought those were really pretty. I hope the color comes through on the camera. I just think that's a beautiful complement to that shaded spruce green ink. Vicky says it isn't silly. We have our preferences. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Christine doesn't like to cover them up. Oh, it looked like a heart. Yes, yeah, it would have. Yes. Okay, Robin likes the distress tile. Oh, good, Sandy. I'm glad you're watching live. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So that is the red one. So there you go. Two different kind of looks there. And then lastly, let's look at the tips I have for you for the pink version. Oh, here it is. I've been looking for this. This is what the Layered Florals embossing folder looks like that we used on the blue card. And I've also used it on here. So I wanted to give you a tip for using that. And then also I had another tip here that I wanted to show you. So this red card, as I mentioned, was stamped with Memento ink for the outline. And do you see the difference? How this one is much softer? This is actually stamped with Smoky Slate. So here is what it looks like stamped in Smoky Slate. Here is what it looks like stamped in Memento. This gives you a much softer look. And I thought this looked great with the red, making it really dark and bold, but I wanted to do pink and I wanted it a little softer. So I tried it with the Smoky Slate and I think it looks gorgeous. So we're going to use Bubble Bath and Lemon Lime ink for the Smoky Slate. And I'm going to give you a tip for this background with the layered florals. All right, Bubble Bath and Lemon Lime. We're going to use basically the same process that you just saw me use with the red. But if you're tuning in late, now you get to see it again. So starting in the center, giving it extra color where it's going to be naturally darker, and just making your circle bigger and bigger to get some lighter pink out at the edges. Bubble Bath is really, really, really light. So you're seeing me add color 2 or 3 times. And it just, unless you have just re-inked your pad, you're going to find that you'll need to do this a couple of times. And I did, I don't know, a year or more ago, I did a whole tutorial about tips for using your blending brushes. And one thing that I do, you're seeing me hold it back here, I do not put pressure on the head. I think that's kind of like scrubbing the ink into the paper too much. So I like to hold it back at the handle and just use a lighter touch. It's just my preference. I don't really think there's a right or wrong, but it's my preference when I'm using blending brushes. So there's the pink. And then Lemon Lime Twist, kind of a, bright green, but I think it's a really pretty complement to this pink. What do you think? What?
It rhymes.
It rhymes? My husband says it rhymes. What rhymes? What did I say? Oh, thinking pink. Okay. Yeah, my men, as I like to say, are here for the long weekend. And so that's where you hear the commentary there. Okay, so that is the Lemon Lime and Bubble Bath. Thank you, Sandy. Thanks, Fran. Oh, thanks, Sue, for joining from Australia. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And then the same thing that I did with the red Rose card that I just finished with you is I went to my Stampin' Blend markers so that I could add the small little bits of green and pink in the areas that were just too tiny to color with the blending brush. So just a little bit of bubble bath and lemon lime in these smaller areas, and that's really all you need. Don't need much. Maybe just a little bit of tiny extra there. And that's all you need. So you don't have to be an artist with the Stampin' Blends to be able to just add little bits of color like that. You can just do a little bit. And then before we put the pink away, let me show you my tip on this layered floral embossing folder. I talked about this a couple weeks ago when I did the product review for the new catalog, but this folder just in white is just gorgeous, or any plain color. You don't have to add a thing to it if you don't want to, but I really like this technique. So I'm going to get some of that bubble bath and then just lightly go over the raised areas so that my background has just a little bit extra visual interest. As with any coloring technique, you can always add more, but it's really difficult to take color away. So just be careful. It's better to build up some layers of color than to tap onto your project and say like, oh my gosh, that was way too much color. I guess that's when you get creative and you put a greeting on top, right? Okay, so I've just got a little bit of added color. You can see, I hope you can see, just a little bit. It's really, really light with that bubble bath. But that's what we're going to use behind the die cut bubble bath image. So I need to die cut this one. I always have to figure out which way. Good heavens. Right there. There we go. You know how sometimes your mind just sees it like in the flash in an instant, and then other times you're turning it around and around and around and around. Okay, so bubble bath and lemon lime, fun color combo to use. And for this one, I double layered my bubble bath. So I have a bubble bath folded side fold card. I have another layer of bubble bath, and then I'm going to put the emboss layer on top of that. And it just gives it a little something, kind of extra something, something there to do that extra layer. And no particular reason for the side fold card. It's just how I happen to score this base. You don't have to do a side fold on this. And just as we did with the blue cards at the beginning, I am using liquid glue on the 3D embossing folder because it allows it to kind of seep in and really give a good amount of adhesion. I don't know. What's the word? Whatever the word is. And this is going to go on top, but I'm going to put this in first so that I don't have to cut it. So we're going to stamp that with the lemon lime. And that also is from this Heartfelt Hellos. Love You More. Okay, I'm going to give you a tip here because I don't know, did you see me struggling to get it out of the case? I broke one of my own rules and I did not do this on this stamp. I always take a piece of washi tape and put it somewhere, just it only needs a little bit. Put it somewhere on my stamp, trim away the extra, and it will keep it from absolutely gluing itself to either your clear block or your case. And I don't know about you, but I have almost ruined some stamps trying to get them out, and they just stick. So you can see my washi tape is there and there, but I didn't do it on this Love You More one, and it was just stuck in there. And I'm not sure how I missed doing that, but anyway. Okay, lemon lime. Okay, have little spots. We're going to turn that around. I thought this might be pretty for a Mother's Day. Love You More. Wouldn't that be pretty? If my mom were still alive, I would give her lots of cards with these roses because they are so pretty. And then I am going to do some flicking with my Wink of Stella. And you probably can't see it in the video, but in person, this adds such a beautiful finish to this card, to any project. And if you like the smell of rubbing alcohol, then you'll love the smell that creates. One more little one. And then we're going to finish this off with rainbow dots. This is another new product in the mini catalog that starts January 4th. So that one's going down flat, and then the roses can just sort of overlap. So pretty. So beautiful. The rainbow dots, look at all those beautiful colors. They are really gorgeous. I'm going to do the pink bubble bath ones on this. You could probably use other colors from this pack as well, though. So how do I want to do this? Should I just copy the same? I think I want to put one down there. I don't know. Does it need another one? Does it need two more? I don't know. I feel like I'm never good at this, and I watch other people just place their embellishments with such ease, and I always think, oh my gosh, it looks so good. And then I do it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like it. I have to get over that. I really should. So there's our bubble bath one with layered florals, rainbow dots, Wink of Stella. And let's grab our other ones and I'll look and see if there were questions. So we had the Real Red, the Moody Mauve, and then we also had two versions with the Orchid Oasis and the Starry Sky for that one. So anyone have questions or a favorite or a thought or a suggestion? Do you like the stippled rose? I love it. And I absolutely love it. I'm so glad I tried the blender pen. I'm going to make some others. I think I'll try stamping in a couple other colors. I'm thinking maybe Highland Heather. I know, Tammy, don't faint. Highland Heather, and then use the blender pen. I think that would be a gorgeous option as well. Thank you, Linda. Where do you get the leaves? I think you mean the sleeves. So these are, hang on, I'm just reaching. These are from Amazon. Avery makes them. They're called 4x6 vinyl envelopes, and you can recognize it on Amazon because it shows this passport picture. But that's how I have all of my, this is just a few. I have a whole box. All of them are like that. And then I label them with my label machine because Stampin' Up! No longer puts the name on the front, and the name on the back is like too small for me to read. So I keep them all in a box here on my desk, and I love these sleeves. They're so great for organizing. Ruth says, I wasn't going to purchase that set, but now I will. Thank you. I guess I need the set now, says Tammy. Thanks, Tracy and Shirley. I'm glad you like this. Oh, the surprise. Thank you, Tammy. Totally forgot. Yes, I have a surprise to show you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy says, love this, adding it to my list. Crafting with Tracy loves it. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Ruth. While I'm seeing this name, is this, Tammy, is this the Ruth that's on here that you emailed today that we needed to hear from about our class? I think it's the same name. So Ruth, I think we were trying to contact you about our online class. Let's see. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you liked it. So yes, thanks, Tammy. So Ruth, yes, check your emails. Tammy emailed you. Okay, thank you. All right, so let me show you this fun secret surprise. I totally forgot. Thank you, Tammy, for reminding me. So before Christmas, my husband came in here into my stamp room and he said, I want you to package me up some cardstock, some stamp sets, some dies, punches, some ink. I want to make you a Christmas card. I was like, oh my gosh, well, like what? I have a lot of stuff. So I showed him a few different sets and he picked out a few different sets and he made me a card, and it is absolutely amazing. I think it is one of the best cards I've ever received. So I have to show you this. This is so cute. Look at this. Look what he did. He used that die. He cut out the front. He drew all these little like bricks or wood or what, red makes me think it's a brick, but the siding. And he made it a window, and he put a penguin, of course, a penguin. Isn't this the cutest? Look what a good job he did. He cut out all these little trees, stamped the snowflake, stamped the hill. Isn't this adorable? I love this. I know, I can see all your hearts. Isn't this so cute? I love it. So that was such a thoughtful thing that he created for me. I loved it. So I had to share that with you. I know, so sweet of him. Yes, Tammy, he did a great job. I'm glad you all liked it. Oh, I'm so glad you reminded me to show it, Tammy. Yes, he does pay attention, Tammy. Yep, he's a keeper for sure now. So any questions? Back to this, back to Stippled Roses. Any questions on that? It is available starting on January 4th. If you're a customer, it's on page 64. So we looked at this a couple weeks ago to talk about all the different pieces that come in it. But today I was just basically trying to show you different ways that you could color simply and make fairly quick cards and not worry about a lot of shading or extra supplies. So I hope you enjoyed the ideas with the blending brushes and then the blender pen. I loved that. Let's see, any other, what set are the label dies from? So this one, let me just grab all my sheets that I showed you. So this one is from Enduring Beauty. This one right here is Enduring Beauty. And this one that I tucked behind and used vertically is from Thoughtful Expressions. It's the largest one. Other sizes would work. And then did I use anything else? Let's see. This is just a deckled circle. So there you go. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Mary. Let's see. Yes, he did a great job at fussy cutting. Let's see, the sample sheets. Yes, the sample sheet was fresh freesia. Fresh freesia and soft seafoam. Yep, I know. I told Tammy someone abducted me and used those two colors that I never use. So soft seafoam, Lost Lagoon, and fresh freesia. Anything else? Any other questions? Oh, sure, Tammy. So one thing that we wanted to remind you of, Tammy and I are co-hosting and teaching an online class that still has openings. It will be in February. We will send you a packet of supplies to make 10 cards plus a free gift, and you will get recorded videos for all 10 projects as part of this online class. This is something new we're trying because our in-person class filled up super fast. So if you are watching this on my Facebook page, you can go to the top of the page, click events, and find the info. Or you can go to my blog, pattystamps.com, and I believe it was Wednesday I posted a reminder for it. So if you go to pattystamps.com, scroll back a couple days, you'll see the info. But the deadline is December 31st. So if you're watching after that, then our registration has closed. And we will be trying this again because we've had a great response and we are excited to share with you. Oh, thanks, Vicki. She says, love stumbling on your lives. Yes, every Friday at 11 a.m. I did take some time off during the holidays, a couple of days. But yeah, Fridays at 11 are the lives. Thanks, Chris. Good to see you on here. Thank you, Mary. Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Claire. Thank you, Fran. Thank you, everybody. I'm so glad that you were here today. Well, I am off on some errands now, and I am going to be spending some time this weekend creating with new products for you for more samples. And I hope you all have a lovely weekend and a safe and happy new year. And I will see you next week for an in-depth look at the Celebration products. We're going to go through the catalog and talk about the products, and I'll have samples and whatnot for you. So I will see you again next week and hope you all have a great New Year's Day. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.